Welcome to another episode of the DL. I am your host, Tyler Robertson, the CEO and founder of Diesel Laptops. And today we are back in studio. It's good to have visitors back in town. And you may recognize this guy sitting to my left of me if you're on the video portion of this. So if you're watching on YouTube, we thank you for that, by the way. So Lee with SP Tools, welcome back.
Thanks, Tyler. Thanks for having me, man. It's great to be out and moving again, right?
It does. I mean, I got a couple trade shows under my belt recently.
Yep.
Like, people are getting out there. I like the direction it's heading. Hopefully we don't have another fourth, fifth, sixth wave or whatever they talk about. So we'll see.
I think enough people have decided not to participate in stupidity any longer.
I agree with you. So, I mean, at the cuff, I mean, if people didn't hear one of your previous episodes, and I think you were literally like episode 2 or 3 or 4 and something. It was the beginning days. Why don't you just start with kind of who is SP Tools? Let's give a little color to what you guys do and the products you sell.
Yeah, so SP is an Australian-based automotive tool and equipment company. They're an offshoot of SP Air Corporation. SP Air has been around since '73, so they have a long history in the automotive business. And we became, in late 2018, we became the importers for North America and the registered agent here. Things were going great. You know, there's always that build up to starting a new product, getting inventory here, all those things. Things were cruising along great. We did our first SEMA show in November 19, and then the world went and got stupid in March of 20. And we've done very well in that time. But, you know, the challenges with COVID and everything else, you know, just like any other company, we've had to modify the way that we do business, modify our go-to-market strategies. Trade shows were down, you know, those kinds of things. So we're looking optimistically towards the future.
So, I mean, I see ads on my Facebook feed and whatnot for SP Tools USA. That's essentially you then.
That's us,
right?
Yep, that's us.
So, you know, I can imagine launching a new business right inside COVID happening and everything. I know we did our training center. I think we launched that like 6 months after COVID because you already signed a lease and things are going to happen.
Right. The ship already sailed. Yeah. Might as well try to get some leg out of it.
So how did you guys adapt with that? Because I mean, I can imagine tool sales is a lot of hands-on, let me show you what this looks like type of business. Because these are not like your tools you buy at your Home Depot store. These are professional grade tools.
Yeah, so this is mobile tool truck quality. One of the things that we did didn't work out exactly the way we had it planned, like some things don't. We started developing an app that customers could use to order tools, to track their purchases, to do ask for a warranty, return, things like that. We had no experience in building an app at all. We have way more experience than we probably wanted to at this point. And we had to hire another company to kind of come in and fix what the first company didn't do. So we're a little delayed in getting that done. That was one of the ways that we were trying to combat the problems with COVID. E-commerce became a big part of what we were doing. It was never a big part of our go-to-market strategy, but we adopted e-commerce because of the limitations of actually getting out and putting people out there. At the same time, the risks of having our employees out face-to-face and having that contact with that many people.
Yeah, so as you're talking here, it reminds me a lot similar to Diesel Laptops, right? So we, I thought we had to go touch people and talk to them individually and show them the tools and do those things. And, we tried and it kind of sucked because you could only talk to so many people per day. And we were trying to build a brand there. We were trying to build the Diesel Laptop brand. And I see you the same thing with SP Tools USA. You're trying to build a brand with a lot of existing competitors in that space, right? You have the Snap-on, the Matco, the Mac Guy. I mean, it's a competitive space at the end of the day. So how do you build a brand from nothing?
And those guys have been doing this for a long time, and they run really good companies. It's the same. It is very similar to the same kind of challenge that you faced with Diesel Laptops. So we need to be able to scale this. We need to be able to reach out and touch more customers. So traditionally, in your business model, that means I'm going to discount the product as much as I possibly can, and I'm not going to bring any additional value to the customer. Yep. I'm just going to sell it cheaper than the next guy.
It's the race to zero, right? Those guys.
It's the race to zero.
Yep.
What you did instead was you said, you know what, I'm going to go to market in a different way, but I'm going to do that by adding additional value that customers can't find somewhere else. Therefore, I don't have to discount my product. I'm going to earn their business.
Yeah.
And we're trying to do the same thing. So we're making it easy to give customers our money and to get their products and services and stuff, get us to stand behind it, the warranties, things like that. So utilizing, UPS, FedEx, things like that, we can handle warranties on average as fast as a tool company can, but we're still saving the customer a lot of money.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have the multi-million-dollar NASCAR sponsorships, so we pass that savings on to our customer.
Yeah, and I think that's the part people need to understand is when you're competing against a big brand, you don't need to go head to head, and you don't need to go get you don't need to match them dollar for dollar on marketing, right? You got to pick and choose. Hey, let's go after this little niche over here, and let's go establish ourselves. And it's the long game. But a lot of times those big competitors can also be easy picking because they're so busy working on a global scale. Well, all of a sudden you get focused on something.
Well, I mean, Snap-on's a $3.8, $3.9 billion a year corporation. Their number one customer is a shareholder.
Yeah.
I am the only shareholder in SP Tools USA. So, I get to actually take care of the customers without the interference of specifically, what that impact to the bottom line is. And my business methodology has always been, if you take care of the customers, everything else will follow. And I have the ability to stick to that.
Yeah. So launching a new tool line, right, in the United States. You got this SP Tools thing going on. COVID happens. And I understand the digital strategy, and digital's tough too, right? You got to build a website and have the content right. Then you got to get traffic and the right traffic and convert to sales. So
for a company that has zero background in doing this,
I feel familiar to that whole thing.
Man, I'm a face-to-face, sales guy. That's my background. So the digital thing, I'm still, I wouldn't say opposed to it, but it's still, me personally, when I go sell stuff, I'm still going to be face-to-face. I just don't work well in that digital space. So we've had to reach out to contractors and consultants and support staff. And, there's a whole challenge in doing that as well, because if you don't know, you don't know. And finding someone that you can trust, finding someone that will actually deliver on their promises has been challenging.
Yeah. No, it's very tough to grow distribution. That's what I've learned at Diesel Laptops. I've tried to get other people to sell stuff for us and do things, and it's always been tough because they don't have the same heart or the same ambition or understand the product as well. There's
herding cats.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to do, to say the least. And I know I agree. You have your digital strategy going on. But you also have some physical stuff you're doing as well with some tool trucks and some other things.
Yeah, so we have several trucks on the road. We're franchising throughout the country. One of the other challenges, unforeseen challenges that COVID brought about was the supply chain issues. And everyone in the country, regardless of whether you're in the automotive industry or you're just going to Lowe's and Home Depot to buy something, it doesn't matter. Everybody has been impacted by this supply chain shortage. Yeah. Simply put, it's difficult for people to get stuff. So the setting up the franchises has slowed a bit because we want to make sure that we can supply the franchises. The last thing you want somebody to do is start a business and then they can't get the product they need to sell.
Yeah, that's going to be so frustrating. Like, you have ambition, you get the resources, you get the plan, and we can't get product.
Right. You literally can't get there from here. Yeah.
So I think as we were talking before this, there's really two pieces to this. There's one, just the raw material, making the stuff.
Yep.
And then there's the logistic piece of it, actually getting the product here.
Yes.
And both are kind of big news items in today's world. Like, where's SP Tools at with that? Because I imagine it's every company, like you said.
Yeah. And one third piece to add to that is also a labor shortage. If you're making stuff offshore, if you have any kind of manufacturing over there, COVID has wreaked havoc on their labor force, just like it has here. So I was speaking to a friend of mine over in China, and he said, after the Chinese New Year, they had about a 40 to 50% attrition rate after Chinese New Year. So these people go home, and they basically just didn't come back. And they normally have a 10 to 15% attrition rate, but they had a lot of people just not come back to the factory, and you can't get the raw material. And then you have the shipping container issue. So anybody that's paying attention to the news when they're not fighting back and forth, they're talking about this problem that we're having with container shortages and being able to unload, cargo ships and all of these other issues. This time last year, we're probably paying $44,000 to $4,500 for a 40-foot container. That same container today costs us $30,000.
If you can even get one.
If you can even get one. So we would we could get a container in about 4 weeks. Right now, we've got stuff that's been on the water for 3 months. We have no idea where it's at. It might be there tomorrow. I don't know. Or it might be there in 2 months.
So, I see all these photos of like Port of Los Angeles where literally just 70 ships just floating out there, anchored, just waiting to actually get into the port. 7
of them are probably mine.
probably one container on each ship, right?
That's right.
Even
exactly.
Worse.
Exactly.
Well, then even that point, like, you finally get the ship unloaded. A lot of time they rail that into like Chicago or another terminal or air, like they move it out of there, right? And that has problems in its own.
Yep.
So it's gonna take a long time for the shortage to sort itself out. And I think anyone that's ever bought anything in the last 6 months is starting to experience what these shortages are.
Absolutely.
And I think it's gonna be a long time before they actually go away. But one of the points I want to get back to is you mentioned franchises. Are you guys looking for franchisees right now? Or
always looking for franchises. And so what we're doing with our franchise and what's a little bit different than what the traditional mobiles are doing is originally, we'll pick on Snap-on since I was a former Snap-on dealer. I feel like I have the right to do that.
Yep.
So years ago, Snap-on had what they called a dealer, and the dealer had a geographical territory. He owned that territory. So as that territory grows, more shops, more people, it was a greater business opportunity for him. What the mobiles have done is they've converted into an approved list of calls. So you have, a minimum number of people that they guarantee that you can call on per week. But as the geographical area grows, you don't get to capitalize on that. And we're going the other way. So what we're looking for is we're not looking for the average guy on a mobile tool truck. We're looking for an entrepreneurial spirited person that wants to go build an empire. And we want to give them as much territory and protected real estate as we can for them to go build that empire.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, for the right person, like you said, some people just want to have their job and do their thing, but a lot of the tool truck guys are entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Right? They buy their routes or they have them. So is that common in the other guys that are out there where one guy has multiple routes, or is that kind of a rarity?
It's less and less common, and it's very difficult in most of the mobile franchise opportunities. It's difficult for somebody to grow that business that way. So what we're doing is similar to something that Domino's Pizza used to do years ago. So if you wanted a geographical territory, Domino's would give you, okay, well, we'll give you all the real estate you want. We want you to put in X number of stores over time.
Yep.
If you don't, then we're going to come back and we're going to start taking some of that real estate back.
Yep.
And you had that agreement up front, so you knew, the business owner knew how many stores he needed to do. They helped them as much as they could in growing the next store, where it's going to be, finding the real estate, all of those kinds of things. And we're doing the same thing. So, we have a guy that's in Oklahoma City. And so he started that first location in Oklahoma City. He's already looking at Tulsa and a couple other places around Oklahoma. So we're going to have the franchises are going to have a mix between mobile tool trucks backed up by brick and mortar locations that can carry a little bit more inventory, and then that way be able to service the customers faster and better.
Yeah, I mean, and the interesting thing here is you're not a guy that's figuring out the tool truck business. You were in the tool truck business,
yes,
essentially, right? So you know what the potential is and what those guys can do through everything. So I think it's a great strategy, and it's got to be a little bit of that physical, a little bit of the digital. I know a lot of people think diesel laptops were like anti-physical. The fact is I'm leasing property in Dallas, now Chicago.
Right.
And you got to have a little bit of that going on where you have the both of it. And I always relate it to like the Amazon Walmart. Amazon's buying brick and mortar as fast as Walmart's investing in the tech side, and they're both kind of like colliding into each other in a lot of fronts. So it's similar stuff.
So with what you do, some of it's just perception, right? And unfortunately perception is reality, but a lot of customers have that perception that if you're not physically there, you're not supporting them. But if you do have the physical distributor that comes into your shop, beyond the initial demo, what do you do when you have a problem?
Yeah.
You pick up the phone and call that guy, right? Or gal, whatever the case may be. They're ultimately doing the same thing with you. The question is there support on the other side of that? And what is that level of support?
Yeah, and for anyone listening to this is where you win against big companies, right? Like, provide them great support.
Because they can't do it. They can't do it.
And I've told my wife this. I've been this show a couple of times, but I'm dead serious. Like, someday when I'm said and done with diesel laptops, like I'm out of here, whatever day that is, I retire or whatever, right? I've always said I'm going to open another business, and it's going to be like a home service business. It could be cleaning pools, doing yard, electrician, plumber. I swear to God, all we got to do is two things. We got to answer the phone when it rings, and we got to show up when we tell people we'll show up.
Yeah.
I think I have more business than I know what to do with.
I'll hire you. Just let me know when you open it. I got work in Alabama.
So frustrating me. Literally trying to call 4 companies to come look at one thing at my house, and none of them return the phone calls or emails.
And I'm going to call them by name because they've pissed me off. So the Cox Pools in Alabama has failed repeatedly to come out and give me a quote on servicing my pool.
Yeah.
Repeatedly.
Yeah.
And I go up there and I take them my water and they test it. They give me the chemicals. And I bitch at them every time that I go up there. Hey, when are you guys going to actually send somebody out? Oh, I can't believe that happened. We'll send them out next week. And I'm talking 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years, and I can't get somebody to show up to quote me on taking care of the pool.
And it's kind of like that in the tool truck business. I'm on these Facebook groups, and I see people all the time, oh, my dealer can't order this because they're out of stock. I think it's really because the dealer's cut off on credit.
Yeah, so that's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, maybe with COVID, maybe that might become more accurate, but for the most part, they haven't paid their toll bill.
I mean, I'll hear from, I'll see their comments on there. Oh, we had a Cornwall guy, he hasn't been here in 2 years. Or we had this guy, he's supposed to be here every week. He shows up once every 3. And, it comes back to that customer service part of it.
So those are the things that we're trying to combat. And it's all service based. So it's my dealer doesn't show up. My dealer's not a nice guy. The franchise agreements that the other mobiles are in, preclude them from actually having a direct relationship with the customer. Our franchise agreements are going to be different. We want them to buy from our distributors, but at the end of the day, we're going to take care of our customers regardless.
Well, I can say this as a consumer that buys a lot of stuff, I don't like to buy from assholes. I like to buy people that I like to do business with and I get along with, right?
Yep,
so
absolutely.
And I think essentially that's what that business is. You're there every week, and we're going to stand behind these products, and we're going to sell great products. And I mean, I guess kind of going into the products, let's just talk about what are some of the new products that are coming out with SP Tools.
Yeah, so there's several. Probably the biggest challenge that we've taken on is tool storage. So one of the, when you look at a product line that has over 4,000 SKUs, you start whittling away at what are our weaknesses, what do we need to change or modify or whatever we need to do to meet the expectation level of the customer. And tool storage was at the top of that list. SP made some great toolboxes, but they had more of a European flavor.
Yeah,
so
that's one of these right here, right?
It is.
Yep.
And this was actually one of the biggest boxes that we were making at the time. So it's 18 gauge steel. It's a little bit more shallow. Just not up to the standards of what a North American technician is looking for. This is more European based, and the European guys love this. They change their boxes out a lot more often, so they pay a little bit less for them, but they're buying them every 2 or 3 years. Technicians here are, it's go big or go home. So our new boxes are, 14.5 gauge steel. We have the side lockers and the hutches and top cabinets and all the accessories and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. So where are you positioned, right? Because I think a lot of people are used to, I know there's Snap-on out there, and I know you can buy toolboxes through other suppliers and whatnot. Where's SP Tools kind of in the market? Is it a high quality thing? Is it we're going to be a Harbor Freight model, or where's SP Tools lined up?
So high quality, high value. In our go-to-market strategy, one of the advantages that we have over the big companies, and I kind of, in tongue-in-cheek, I was picking on them a little bit earlier, is we don't have multi-million-dollar sponsorships with NASCAR. We unfortunately don't have a private jet. I wish I did.
Yeah.
But we don't. I don't have the 150-foot yacht. I don't have all of the other things that ultimately the tool customers are paying for.
Yeah.
You know, Snap-on's not paying for that sponsorship at NASCAR. The customers are. And they're paying it when they buy a $150 ratchet that really is worth about $90, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's generally where you're going to find us. We're going to be in that 30 to 40% less than where Snap-on is, but you're still buying Snap-on quality.
Yeah. Well, I know we have a new promo going on too with SP Tools in conjunction this month of October, right?
Yeah, it was a great idea, I think, between our marketing teams.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically the promotion, people buy a Texas car or a Texas supercar license for us. Name goes in the hat.
Yep.
And they're getting one of the new boxes.
Yeah.
Right? So explain the box they're getting.
Yeah. So that is the Sumo Trade Series. So that's the series of box that we were just talking about that was developed specifically for North America. We're going to do a custom diesel laptops wrap on it, which I think the marketing teams, you know, putting their heads together came out with an awesome design. And the really cool part about that is it's going to be a one-off, right? It's the only one in existence.
Like a collector's edition.
It is. So whoever wins that box is getting something that nobody else is going to have.
We'll have to figure a way to put some signatures on there.
That's what I'm talking about. Right? We can do that for sure.
No, I think it looks great. I saw the custom wrap and everything on there. And I think it's a great promotion. Obviously, Texas got a great supercar and great normal car, I guess I call it, software that covers everything.
That's another promotion that you guys are doing, right? Some supercar stuff that you're putting out.
Yeah. So we, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we represent Texas. We obviously sell their truck. We sell their off-highway. We sell the Marine, the Power Sports. And we're like, well, they got this car thing over here. And we looked at it. I'm like, man, I'm really a diesel guy. But I'm like, but we kind of know this online marketing thing. We already have the physical hardware, some software license. I can buy them as I need them. And we said, hey, we're going to just do like a toe in the water. For us, really, it's just spending like $1,000 a month and just see what leads and how many close.
Right.
And we're sitting there like, man, I think we can go collect, go sell $500,000, $1 million a year in this stuff without much effort, really.
Right.
So it's new to us, but we've, learned a lot with Texa. We've learned a lot about what the software can and can't do. And it can do a hell of a lot. So I'm really excited to get out there and start seeing what customers have to say about it.
I hope it's successful.
Yeah, I do too. So you have some other new products as well that you were talking about earlier.
We do. We came out with, we've got a new speaker light. It's an 800 lumen work light. It's got a magnet on it, so it can be placed under the hood if the hood's metallic. A lot of guys put it inside the hutch area of their toolbox. So they're streaming music and things like that.
So it's wireless.
It's wireless. It's IP67. So it's great for camping. Believe it or not, we have a lot of customers that they buy one for work. They take one home as well. Yeah. It's a great light to keep in the vehicle. If you're an outdoorsy type person, it's something that you can throw in the console of your vehicle, glove box, something like that, and take with you just about anywhere.
So I know battery tech's come a long way over the last decade or so. So how long can that thing actually play music for?
Man, it's like with the light on, it will stream music for like 4.5 hours, and again, that's an 800 lumen light.
Yeah, that's a big light. Yeah, doing that whole thing. No, that's amazing. I know you have another kind of cordless wireless tool, I should say, as well, that you came out with recently.
Bluetooth battery tester.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about that is it's app driven. There's a version of the app in iOS and in Android, and it basically will do complete starting, charging, system analyzation in just a few seconds, 30 seconds or so.
So basically all your readings are on the mobile app then?
Yep, all the readings are the mobile app. You've got a little piece of hardware that you can put on it. Another cool benefit to it is it can be used as a battery state of health, state of charge monitor. So for those people that have collector cars, or maybe you've got a vet that you only drive every now and then, you can leave this connected to the battery. Every time you get within Bluetooth range, it comes up and automatically gives you the state of health and state of charge of the battery, because that's a challenge, right? A lot of the custom cars and stuff like that will have a kill switch for that reason, right? The batteries go dead, they're leaving maintainers on them, that kind of thing. This gives you kind of a heads up of where your battery's at.
I feel like I need to like my jet skis. Will these things work with jet ski batteries?
Absolutely, certainly will.
Because that things are always dead on those
always
things,
dead,
right?
Always
so
dead.
I probably need to get some of them. It'd be kind of nice to be able to walk into my dock and be like, hey, what's
I'll send
going
you
on?
a couple.
We'll check them out. We'll put some footage out there on those things.
Okay.
And then you were talking about a new jump pack that you have as well.
Yeah. So, and that's one of those I wasn't going to believe it until I saw it kind of things. We were told, when SP sent it over to us, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I've never really been impressed with the ability for this small jump packs to be able to jump off a diesel.
I never thought they could. I have a small one for my boat, to my car at home and everything. And I was a service manager. We had this big heavy thing we had to lug around, and we actually didn't own it. We rented it, which was a weird situation. But, so you're telling me they have a small, little, more condensed version that'll pop off a big one.
So we got the beta version in, or the beta unit in, and I said, we're going to put this thing to the test. So I sent the guys over to, I'm not going to say what company it is, because they probably don't like the fact that I killed their batteries. So we turned the windshield wipers and the headlights and everything, and ran that battery down to 3 volts, and it was in a 26-foot box truck with a Cummins. And it fired right up. We have a video on it, and I'll send it to you so you can put a link up so the guys can go watch it. We also had one of our YouTube influencers do an independent video with our #1 competitor, which is NOCO. They have a heavy-duty jump pack, and he did that on his own personal Duramax diesel. And the NOCO unit just simply, it was click, 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 and the our jump starter fired it right off.
So, I'm not even a tool guy, but I, for whatever reason, enjoy like the YouTube videos where you do like torture tests on tools and they compare them to each other and everything. Have you guys done any of those at all?
We have.
Yeah.
We have. We need to get back to it, much like you with real estate challenges and everything else and growth, which is a blessing, but sometimes a curse as well. We lost our shop area.
Needed for storage.
It needed it for storage. So we're currently working on a new shop area. It's supposed to be done actually this week. And we're excited about getting it set up, and then we're going to get back to videos and the torture testing and all real stuff.
So do you have that problem too, where you buy a new building or build something and you're like, oh, this is going to last us for years. We're set here. And then you sit like 9 months later, you're like, I didn't go big enough.
Yeah. So our first office was like literally it was just an office, probably 400 square foot, and we were like, oh yeah, this is awesome. We can put inventory in here and everything, because before that it was a Rubbermaid shelf in my garage, right?
Same thing. Yep.
So we went through that, and then we moved into I bought a 6,000 square foot building that was actually an automotive shop at the time. I ran the shop for a while, finally decided 2 businesses wasn't a good idea, closed the shop down, said this is going to make this is more space than I'll ever need. It was like 6,000 square foot.
Yeah.
That lasted for a month.
Yeah.
And, and we've been chasing that ever since.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, we're running out of space here. I know my runway ahead of me. And we got with our agent, like, okay, show us what's in town that has a 14-foot door.
Right.
And he's like, nothing.
Right.
Like, great. What about a 12-foot door that we can make into a 14-foot?
Right. We can cut through the walls if we need to.
And
right?
then the construction costs are skyrocketing. It's just it's an interesting time to be alive, to say the least, and everything. But it's good to hear you guys got through COVID. Things are going good. The brand's out there. I know you, like everyone else, has supply chain logistic problems to deal with, but they're going to get dealt with. Everyone's working hard on there's a lot of different pieces to that puzzle that I don't think a lot of people understand. But it'll get resolved. All right. So if someone wants to learn more about SP Tools or contact you, how do they do that?
Yeah, sptoolsusa.com is the website. We also have an awesome tech school program for anybody that's watching that happens to be a student tech. We've got some fantastic discounts and stuff dedicated specifically to the student techs. That's SP NEXTECH, NEXTECH, spnextech.com. You can register. That's a private website that you have to log into to be able to see pricing because of the student discounts. But if you register, somebody from the student tech program will reach out and get you credentials.
All right. Yeah, sounds great. And again, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being in studio. Good to see you in person again and everything. I feel like it's been a minute since we were able to get in touch with each other. So with that, we're going to end the episode. For everyone watching on YouTube, I just want to say thank you. We very much appreciate it. And of course, we're everywhere podcasts can be, including Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and just about everywhere else. So as we end every episode, it's not just diagnostics, it's diagnostics done right. And that means having the right equipment. SP Tools is here to help you with that as well. Thank you for watching and listening.